We'll be discussing more on security in Nigeria in 2014. I'm being joined now on the news at 10 by a retired Colonel, Yomi Dare. Thank you for joining us on the news at 10.
Thank you very much for having me, Amarachi.
So, of course, security was a major concern for many Nigerians in 2014, and one of the concerns was what the military has been doing to curb Boko Haram. Is it possible to contain this group?
Yeah, I believe it is possible, but like I always say, security is everyone's business. It's not the business of the military alone. But I want to put something on the table here that the military should indeed be allowed to do their job. You know, what I mean is we should leave we should leave politics out of this whole management of the war against terror, because you can see, I think if we monitor the news in the last 48 hours or so, all movements have been banned, especially in Maiduguri. And I think we should even go beyond that. We should have a complete, total state of emergency.
When you talk about removing politics from security, I mean, the military has not been restricted from doing their job. I mean, they're allowed to do their job, but right now it seems like, you know, the rest of us Nigerians have our backs against the wall and there's really nothing we can do about it. It does seem like there is no safe haven against Boko Haram in Nigeria.
Well, I am not going to subscribe to that. I believe that the military, if allowed a free hand, honestly, they will contain this insurgency.
What more do you think they need? I mean, because they have the support of the Nigerian people. What more does the Nigerian military need to fight against Boko Haram?
Well, I believe that, for example, in the states where you have states of emergency, and I look at it as a partial state of emergency, because a total state of emergency wherein you have the military coming in to take over the management of the state itself. But it's not a situation whereby you have them still being dictated to, and then probably their actions are restricted. So I want to believe that if they are given a free hand, because I think there are still some restrictions.
Well, in the last few months, we've seen the rise of female suicide bombers in the fight against in the insurgents attacks on Nigerians, especially in northeastern Nigeria. What do you make of the implications of this? Because the fear now is that the Chibok schoolgirls are being used, though that notion is being debunked by the Nigeria police.
I think it's a very, very sad development, because from records lately, I think we have recorded more incidents of female suicide bombers here in this part of the world than any other place. I also want to believe that it's a kind of indoctrination, and I would not rule out that the Chibok girls are not part of the suicide bombers, the female suicide bombers.
Well, you know, when you say that, you have to be a bit sensitive, you know, to the families of the girls themselves. I mean, hearing things like this being said, it doesn't make it any easier that the girls are still missing. But is it possible? I don't know. Is it possible that, you know, I mean, the females are more susceptible, you know, to fear and threats from Boko Haram members than the male, as we've seen recently?
Well, I don't believe that, because it's just because they are females and it's just a few of them. I mean, in the past, it has always been the male suicide bombers executing the bombing. But, well, we have a couple of females now. So I don't believe that it's because they are females, you know.
Okay, so, well, recently we've observed the conviction of soldiers charged for mutiny. The last we heard was about 18 of them. The other time it was about 40. The other time it was about 60, a bit more than 60, being charged for mutiny. Should there have been an investigation to uncover the truth before these soldiers are condemned to death?
Well, I want to believe that there must have been investigations, because the military courts are just like the normal courts that we have. It's part of the judicial system, and it's recognized by the Nigerian judiciary. So there definitely investigations are carried out before even court-martials are set, and you find out that even the accused persons, they are allowed to appoint lawyers to defend them. So I think I will not subscribe to the notion that investigations were not carried out. The military that I know, investigations are normally carried out.
And you would know, Colonel Dari, because you spent 31 years in the Nigerian military.
Yes.
Thank you so much for speaking with us on the News at 10. We do appreciate your presence here. Colonel Yomi Dari was a former, is a retired colonel from the Nigerian military with 31 years experience. He spoke on the security situation in Nigeria in 2014 and looking ahead to 2015. In the meantime, the police has given assurance of adequate security across the country throughout the period of the festivity. After leading an aerial patrol today, the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Sulaiman Abba, said arrangements has been made for regular surveillance from the air during Christmas and New Year. Also, at a separate news conference in Abuja, the Deputy Commandant General Operations of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps, Mr. Evans Ewurum, said the agency is ready to ensure hitch-free celebrations.
The Inspector General of Police and other senior police officers kicked off what they referred to as a special aerial patrol operation in Abuja to prevent crime during the Yuletide. According to the police boss, the aerial patrol will complement ground operations as they strive to prevent crime throughout the festive period.
Within the 2 hours, we went out on patrol, covering the 3 states, Kaduna, Niger, and Kogi State. We saw a lot of improvement in terms of the provision of adequate security and the control of traffic along that road.
Also, at the headquarters of the Nigeria Security Civil Defense Corps, officials say they are alive to their responsibilities during the festive season and beyond. The NSCDC says it has deployed 65,000 personnel and 160,000 volunteers across the country for security purposes.
This place may be too hot for anybody who might want to try. And if you try, well, you should accept my sympathy in advance, because we have ensured that all our deployments are very strategic and critical. So we are trying to ensure that those who are celebrating this season go home, celebrate it with their 2 eyes closed.
It appears that both security agencies have learned lessons from lapses in the past and are ready to implement new strategies to protect lives and property during the festive season.
In line with our responsibilities of prevention of crime and ensuring public safety, along with the DIG operations, the Commissioner of Police, FCT, whose other colleagues of Kaduna, Niger, and Kogi are also out, we decided to come out and ensure that our officers and men are living up to these responsibilities of prevention of crime and ensuring public safety.
I want to ensure that people go home, celebrate the Christmas, contrary to the wish of unfriendly forces.
In the last 3 years, terrorists have attacked soft spots, including churches, view centers, and motor parks during the festive period. It is hoped that whatever strategy the security agencies may adopt, it would produce the desired effect on the citizens during the season.
As we celebrate Christmas, let us also remember and offer special prayers for all our countrymen, women and children who've suffered and continue to suffer untold hardship, deprivation and death in the hands of terrorists and insurgents. At the core of President Goodluck Jonathan's special goodwill message to Nigerians this Christmas, The president's message calls on Christians and non-Christians alike to use the event to reflect on the virtues and ideals demonstrated by Christ while on earth. Addressing Nigerians to offer special prayers for the manifestation of divine peace in the country, President Jonathan also calls for prayers for the soldiers and security agents prosecuting the war against terrorism. And towards the 2015 elections, President Jonathan offers an assurance that INEC will be given all necessary support to deliver free, fair and credible polls. He says, "I urge our political class to be law-abiding and place the greater interests of our nation above all personal or sectional interests in the countdown to the elections. Let us all be more statesman-like, conduct issues-based campaigns, and eschew the promotion of falsehood, division, and hatred of others as we seek the votes of our countrymen." Well, still ahead on the news at 10, the two major contestants in the Lagos PDP governorship primary, Musliu Obanikoro and Jimmy Agbaje, bury the hatchet. We'll have more on that. Please join us again.